Welcome to Season 2, Episode 20 of the Amplified Marriage Podcast. Today we are having a discussion about the Enneagram 6. Is the 6 the loyalist? Are they loyal to fear or are they loyal to security?
Welcome to another episode of Amplified Marriage. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Brian.
Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you hear us say this every single podcast. Grab a coffee, grab a tea, grab a snack, get cozy on the couch. We're so glad that you've joined us for our chat today.
In the last episode, if you missed it, run right now to the website and you can take a listen. It's about the 8, the challenger. Does a challenger have to be a challenge?
That's right. And that was Brian's Enneagram number for those who might not know what we're talking about.
I'm not sure if she's ever cracked the code of being a challenger or not, but
I think I got you pretty figured out after 20 years.
Yeah, you just have to stand up to me.
That's right.
And then I just cave like a cheap house of cards. Well, maybe not quite, but so I did want to start this one with kind of a thought. When people are looking at this, maybe they're thinking, well, the Enneagram 6 or the Enneagram 8, or as we even go through these, maybe it doesn't apply to me because I know what I am, or you don't know what I am, and this is not, maybe it's not as interesting as you would want because you're like, maybe I'm not, I'm a 3, I think I'm a 3. But I think I want to kind of land with this. Like, if we break down each one of these numbers.
Right.
And it's all about knowing ourselves and learning who we are and learning and having a good emotional EQ.
And what motivates you.
And what motivates us and our health and our unhealth and all those things. And I think if we're going to break this down to just the level for everything, it's all about communication. Mm-hmm. It's all about learning each other. It's all about learning about other people. And so the Enneagram, just knowing these things helps us be better at being people.
That's right. And you keep, like we said it time and time again, as we've done the podcast, that these are just simply tools.
Right.
Right. It's not like a one box fits all or a one number fits all. This is more of tools to understand those around you.
Right.
Maybe to understand yourself better or your partner. And so, hey, if I wish, and we've said this too, I wish that we would have known this in our early years.
Right.
I think it would have really helped eliminate and honestly eliminate a lot of our arguments.
Absolutely. So just for those of you that are listeners and you're loyal listeners, this really does help us communicate better and just communicate those and be better people with those around us.
That's right. And kind of like it helps, well, as we go through, 6 is my number.
Yep.
So as we go through this of like some of the challenges that you might be facing, if some of the things that we mentioned are frustrating you
right
in your own life, then you might have someone in your life that's a 6.
Right. And yeah, we just want you to just kind of come on this journey with us as we talk about this. So, Natalie, you're a 6.
Yes, I am.
You're a loyalist. That's the name. If you were to, so something about 6s, or my 6 anyway. You're my 6. And Natalie is very cautious and afraid, and not afraid of like to go outside and obviously or anything like that, but she's worst case scenario on every situation. So
every situation. And then if I've thought of a situation, I will worst case scenario the worst case scenario that I've
worst case scenarioed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Honestly.
Yeah. And now we're discovering that my oldest son is very much like my mother or my wife, and he is very much, well, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen if I drive at 100 kilometers an hour going down the highway at night?
Yeah.
And he's just mentally in his head doing these things just like you do. What's the worst thing that we can do on the highway following the speed limit? And so
I'm very curious of our children, what they are as they grow up.
But we're not going to type them, and we're not going to get them to take the test until they're quite a bit older.
Yeah.
So here's the basic desire of a 6 is to feel secure.
Hands down.
Which is why they seek loyalty through others, right? Like why you seek that loyalty through others, because if you're loyal and that person is secure, that means you will have that feeling of security, correct?
Yeah, but it's not through others, it's to them.
Yeah, right. Sorry, to others.
Yeah.
So you work hard to build really good, strong, stable relationships, and that includes with me, but also with other friends, with other people. They want to feel that others can truly, or that they can truly trust others to support them.
That's right.
And so you're not willing to throw your eggs in a basket if you don't think that you can trust that person.
That's right.
Right.
So at a party, let's say, or at a get-together, I would be the one standing outside of the attention. So we are not,
Sixes.
the sixes, in my experience, men might be different. I do not like being the center of attention. So, and I'm not an extrovert. So I would stand on the outside of where all the action's happening and I people watch.
Yeah. Which generally means that I'm in the center because I love just meeting everyone and shaking hands. I'm a very social aid.
Now there's a purpose to the people watching.
Yes, there is.
Because a lot can be communicated non-verbally.
Right.
And so I like to think that I have a sixth. Get it?
Yeah, I get it right now. Yes, thank you. Wow.
To be able to pick people who I deem trustworthy versus those that I deem untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Just by watching them.
Yep. That's very true. And so you will identify those that around you that also value the same types of things, and that's where you'll actually throw your loyalty with.
That's right. Now,
here's a question. You, as a 6, you have difficulty trusting others.
100%.
So then how it takes you how long to build a secure relationship?
Very long time.
Right.
I have classes of friendships. I have acquaintances where, so if my life were like a theater and the stage is where I am, the acquaintances would be in the bleachers.
Right.
Okay, so they can see me on the stage, but they're not close enough to know any really important details about me other than like, how's the weather? Great. How are you doing? I'm great. Oh, nice jacket. Thanks. Those are acquaintances, right?
Yeah.
And so I have different classes, and the closer the people are that I can trust, the closer they are to the stage, the more in depth I go in revealing those layers of who I am. But I do not divulge all of me to just everyone.
Right.
So because of that, I can often come across as being standoffish, or I can come across as being kind of grumpy and cold.
Yep.
Like your brother's nickname for me for a long time was the Ice Queen. And it's just because
I'm sure that's not the exact wording.
No, but for the sake of the podcast,
it was the Ice Queen.
I am not willing to give all of that to just anyone because there's a reason. I do not want any of that I disclose to be used against me. Right. So I'm very cautious who I share what with.
Because you don't trust anyone.
And because of that, then I can become defensive and I can project those feelings of insecurity or those feelings of untrust where other people are untrustworthy. I can project my own feelings, whether they're positive or negative, if I'm not careful.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that makes sense.
That does make sense. And so the basic fear of a 6 is losing personal support.
Yes.
Lack of losing the trust of someone or someone that you trusted to betray you, and the stability that comes with that trusting relationship.
That's right. If I am betrayed, it is unfortunately, it's one of those, like, I chop you off.
And it's done.
Right?
Yep.
So I have very little tolerance. That's just me. Other people might be more long-suffering and gracious. And there have been people that I have been long-suffering and gracious to
when
my
the Lord
detriment,
speaks to your heart and with thunder and lightning.
But when it comes time to cut it off, it's a done deal.
Okay. And so because of that, if you could snapshot the first 5 years of our marriage, how much, because we weren't stable, there was no support. It was insecure environment, and just the environment, not the relationship, but the environment was insecure. Jobs were hard, wasn't making a lot of money.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
A nightmare.
Emotionally.
Yeah. A nightmare, because I thrive when I'm healthy.
Right.
I thrive So I shouldn't say I thrive. I can be secure in myself in a healthy situation.
That's right.
In an unhealthy situation, I'm looking to you to fill that security for me.
Right.
And when that wasn't happening, because I didn't trust myself or my own intuition or my own judgment, it became a really volatile situation of like, how am I ever going to make it on my own?
If I'm not there.
If you're not there,
yeah.
right?
So what you're saying is because what we're learning here is that 6s really want a predictable, safe, stable environment.
I do not do change well at all.
No, you do not.
At all. In fact, it makes me very anxious and very cranky. I like routine.
Well, even
I'm not very flexible, I wouldn't say.
You're not very flexible.
No.
And here's the thing is like we just changed podcasting equipment.
Yes.
And because we have to do the intro outros a little bit differently, it throws you off. Like it's just a minor change. We're saying the exact same things for the intro outros, or we're doing the same flow, except we do it differently, and that just throws you right off.
That's right. If anything, and it can be something so ridiculous. Okay, so as an example, when we lived up north, I worked as a receptionist, and I had to like deal with like some bookkeeping stuff. Anyhow, the program that we were using, I was used to. And I was like, I know I do this, I do A, I do B, I do C. Next, I do A, B, and C. Okay, so this particular day, I had a panic attack in the office, and I'm like, the whole thing is changed. And
I remember.
I was like, oh my gosh, I've messed something up. I hit something, like nothing is here. None of my checklists that I need to go through were in the right spots. So
everything was
called
off.
My very dear friend, Star, who was the one that was like double checking all my work. I called her and I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And she said, leave it. I'll check it in the next day. She comes in and she calls me and she was laughing. And she said, she calls me Frenchie. And she says, Frenchie, everything is there. And I'm like, as if it's there. It's not. And so I came like, I'm coming to the office. I came in. I was like, well, this wasn't there yesterday. The only thing that had changed was the color. The color background on this program was different. They updated the color.
Right.
And it was enough
just the color.
Okay, it must seem ridiculous to those of you listening going, holy moly, woman, it's just the color. But when you're so ingrained in routine, because I don't change
your
well,
routine and your task oriented, not task oriented, but your like numbered list. This is what I have to do today.
Exactly.
It's all organized. There's tabs.
Right. And so it's enough to throw me off.
Right.
So
you have a tendency to expect the worst and hope for the best. And before we did this, you made this weird argument. No, I plan for the worst and hope
that I never have to use that.
So I'm like, exactly. You expect the worst.
That's and you no, hear me out.
It's the exact same thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
If I'm planning for the worst,
expect.
That is just so that should something happen, I'm not expecting
it to happen.
I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
No. That's the second part. Hoping that it doesn't. So you're hoping that the worst doesn't. You can't get out of this one. No, I want you to keep explaining because this is amazing.
I'm hoping that I never have to use it, but should I need it, I know exactly what I'll be doing.
So you just convoluted all the words in that statement to say the exact same thing and then giggle your way through it cutely and expect me just to like, that's not true.
I disagree with that sentiment. I plan for the worst and hope I never need to use it.
But as a 6, this is the exact same thing that you would say to defend your position about expecting the worst.
Is it? I don't know.
Oh, is it? I don't know. Okay. So you express, moving on, because we could be here for a while, because I'm crying, trying not to laugh because it's the exact same thing. Anyway, they may express fear by overthinking decision making.
Yes.
Can I just make a statement now?
Yes, you can.
You've gotten very good at not overthinking.
Really?
And I like how you're just so blown away by that. You're like, what? Really?
Well, it's because I'm in my own head, and that's really nice that I've made progress.
Okay, so let me rephrase this. I said you are getting really good at not verbalizing the overthinking about the decision we have to make.
Can you give me an example of how I would overthink something?
So we would make a decision even to buy tires. This is like a week ago.
Oh, Lord.
We've been talking about buying tires for the car for now almost 2 months because you
I'm
expected
planning.
it could be snow in June and we could need our tires. And so you're right. We need tires. We got to get tires. And I'm being an 8. I called 5 shops,
Yep.
got prices on all of them, went down to Canadian Tire. I found some steel rims that I want for the tires so we don't hurt the ones we have on there to replace them for the same price as just getting rubber from one of the other places. And on the spot, I'm like, she's going to like the tires. She'll like the price. Paid for them. I came home. You're mad because I didn't get the decision with you because you wanted to overthink the tires, the rims, the cost, the money, everything and because you weren't there, even though we had literally over-talked this decision for 2 months.
Okay. That's a valid point.
Right?
He's not wrong.
And you were visibly annoyed that I made a decision to buy the tires. And I'm like, Nat's going to love this because I'm providing the stable safety that she needs on her vehicle to have the winter to come. This is a stable environment. She 100% agrees with me, but because she wasn't part of the overthinking of the decision for the tires,
that's true.
It bothered her.
Yep.
And we had to work our way through it.
That's right. So 6s. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
I like how you just blow past that one. We need to stop talking about this.
I would say that we're complex, and we're complex because we can be on both sides of the fence.
Right.
So we can be submissive, but yet rebellious.
Submissive, but yet rebellious.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And depending on the authority figure, for example, will determine which side of the fence we're going to land on.
Yep, that's very
true.
true.
There are times when I am full out submissive, and not like submissive in marriage. Like that's a whole different topic, but just
that's a whole podcast about your lack of submissiveness to me. You guys, you could talk about this for hours.
Oh, we'll get there. Don't you worry. To be submissive, or I don't like the authoritative person in the one in charge. For whatever reason, either I don't trust them or that's probably what it is. Let's just be real. Okay, let's say I don't trust the person. There is no way that I'm going to submit to that.
Right.
And so I will flip to the rebellion side, and let me tell you, there's no stopping me.
Right. But the thing about that is that other numbers wouldn't say anything, or you may not even say anything. You'll just rebelliously disagree with everything that they say, but you may not say anything directly to them.
I dig my heels in.
Whereas as an 8, I'll just be like, whoa, bro, like, don't be a jerk, or I'll stand up to them.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. So some good things about us.
Yeah.
We're reliable, hardworking, responsible, and trustworthy.
I would say all of those things are true. and
you kind of had a pause there.
There's no pause.
I would say that
I'm still thinking about the tires. I'm just and also they expect the worst, hope for the best thing. It's just I'm still.
Yeah, but because of that, we are excellent troubleshooters. We can foresee problems and foster cooperation.
That was do you know how when we were early married, I would be in a situation work wise with a person. It generally was about people. I'll just be honest. It was always about people. And I would be like, oh, we can trust this person, or I'm going to do this. And she's like, you know what? I don't think that's wise. You always saw ahead, and I don't
There's
even
an intuitive.
So I'm going to say I give you props because I don't even doubt that anymore. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have to cut this off and throw it away because like whatever the situation is because you see it first. You know what the problem possibly can be. You're already and I've learned to do that as well, but I'm more on the side where I just want to help and push through and challenge them on it. And we're near like, there's going to be problems here that even if you challenge them is not going to change.
That's right.
And so you foster that. I love that. The foster cooperation. You fostered this
now there can be a
way in me to cooperate and get things done.
Right. And having said that, like I can be quite cynical of other people.
Well, yeah.
And it can come across I can either be judgmental or it can come across as being judgmental. Because there have been times in working, how do I word this correctly without being...
Working with drug addicts?
Well, okay. I don't know how else to
but
say
they're just easy. They're early in recovery.
That's right.
And they're still working through some stuff.
Yeah. And there was... several occasions where I was like, this is what I think is going on.
Right.
And you couldn't see it. And I was like, And you were
Right.
like, oh, you're being
You're
a little
wrong.
you're being a little judgy. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be here, yes, to say I told you so. When? Because I can be like that too.
We don't recommend that as a marriage communication style, as I told you so.
No, but I'll be here
All right then.
we'll be here to talk about it when you realize that I was right.
Yeah.
And more often than not, it was correct.
Right.
And so I'm not saying that I'm not judgmental. I can totally be judgmental.
What?
Right? But we do have a sixth sense.
I didn't want to say anything.
And an intuition for
Yeah.
untrustworthy people.
Yeah.
Or people that are shady.
Sixes can also become defensive, evasive,
Yep.
anxious,
Yep.
running on stress, and
the complaining about it. Hands down, 100%. If
I don't-
I'm saying yes to something and I don't check my motivation for why I'm saying yes to something and I agree to it
yeah.
and I should have said no,
Yeah,
guaranteed
I guess.
I'm going to be right choked about it. Now, because I'm a loyalist, I will see it through,
Oh, 100%.
but I'm not going to be happy about it.
Yeah. Well, no. And you're not a whiner, though.
No, but I'm an internalizer of like, why did I
Yeah.
say yes? And I'm grumpy at the fact that, not that I felt bamboozled because I made the choice, but right? So I have learned, and if you are a 6, let your yes be yes,
And your no be no.
your no be no, and if you're humming and hawing, it's a no.
Right.
And be secure in that, and don't be afraid to say no if you're on the fence of like, I don't know if I should, and whatever.
Yeah.
If
And
you're
even going back to like running on stress, that kind of comes back up to the fact that you overthink the decision making and you stress yourself out in
Yes.
that.
Yep.
And little things like this, right?
that's right.
Sixes can be cautious. That's very much you. And
Oh,
indecisive.
Yep.
The indecisive thing drives me bananas.
Yep.
When we go to Tim Hortons.
I like to think I'm decisive.
Well,
I know I'm not, but I like to think I am.
Well, it's because I just forced a decision on you. You're like, you got 10 seconds. You got until I close this door, and you have to text me while I'm in the store to tell me what you want because we're going to go in and get it done.
That's right. And the moments that I am decisive,
Yeah.
then I'm predictable because
Right.
it's always the same thing.
Yeah. And you typically have problems with self-doubt.
Yep. And I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious of 99.9% of people.
I think that's a bit low. It might just be 100% of everyone.
No, because you're the 1% suspicious of.
I don't even think, I think it's Katrina. I don't think it's me. I think it's Katrina and Nathan that you're like, I'm not suspicious of that. But Brian, I might be a little sneaky.
There are people in my inner sphere that I am not suspicious of.
Right.
But for the common person, 100%, I'm suspicious of your motives.
So if I found this on Crystal Speaks, it's a website that actually deals very deeply with the Enneagram. And I want to say this is something she says, self-talk. When you're having that moment in your brain, if I was to say this, and this is the self-talk, the world is threatening in an unsafe place, be prepared.
Yes.
Plan for the worst. Be prepared.
Prepare for the worst. It says be prepared.
Whatever. It just changes the layer. Be prepared. Be loyal. People can count on me. Be careful who you trust. I must not be afraid. I must not let my guard, but I must not let my guard down. I must protect myself. I must be loyal.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yes. And you see the war that goes on in the mind. People can count on me, but I have to be careful who I trust.
Right.
Right? So people can count on me, but I'm not 100% I can count on them.
Yeah. Because you know that you're trustworthy.
Right? I must not be afraid, but I must not let my guard down.
Yeah.
So you're on both sides of the fence. It can be really that's stressful.
So some of the gifts of the Enneagram is devotion. They're committed to the value. They express that. Courage. And you're very courageous. When you get it in your mind that something is the greater thing or the justice, you're very justice driven.
I am very justice driven, but I don't want to be in a place to cast justice on another person, if that makes sense.
To make the judgment on another.
To make the judgment call. I that part terrifies me, but I'm justice of like, you have wronged
and you need
humanity,
to pay.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that I could actually follow through.
Right. And so they're courageous. They're prepared. We're planning on a family trip to Disney. And if my brother-in-law listens to this, he's very much the same.
He is also a 6.
And so these two are funny. Me and my sister are just like not. But anyway, we're planning a trip to Disney. We want to take one large vehicle across Canada into the border. I'm 100% against it. Listen, listeners, listen, family. I'm going to go along with it because I love my family. I love my brother-in-law. I love my sister. I love my nephews and nieces. I don't want to spend the extra money it's going to cost to rent a van, get the insurance, and use the fuel to go across. When I have a hybrid, that's going to cost a quarter of the cost to go across the border. Now, that's besides the point. I just want everyone to know where I stood. Now, going across the border, the reason, Natalie, the biggest reason is this one thing, preparedness, being alert and risk aware. She's the reason we do this is because my brother-in-law has done this before, and she's worried about the highway 10 months from now.
I'm not worried about the highway because I've been on that highway. And for those of you who live off the I-5, I commend you for braving that, because that is the scariest highway.
So the one thing, it's not about money. It's not about comfort in the vehicle.
Nope.
It's not about anything else. It's about the fact that Jeremy knows where he's going.
That's right.
And he'll be safe on that highway.
Yep.
Because he knows what to do. Her biggest fear is, what if we get separated if we're in two vehicles?
Duh.
And risk aware. So you're prepared well.
Oh yeah, I'm prepared months and months and months.
I was so excited for the adventure. If we get separated, it'll be fine to try and get a hold of each other.
Nope.
Where do we go? No, not her.
Nope.
And we've talked about this already. Trustworthiness.
Trustworthy.
You're very trustworthy.
We are team oriented.
Yeah, you very much. You do super well with a group where you can collaborate.
I love being part of a team. I don't necessarily want to be the one in charge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair. Whereas I have to be the one in charge.
Yeah,
or
so that
not
like
being
we
controlled.
work well together because I like to be a part of all the planning and preparing.
But you don't want to have to lead any of it.
I don't want to have to lead any of it.
Even though you do lead things.
I do lead things.
Yeah.
I lead lots of things, but it's certainly not, and I can. It's not because I can't. I just would
That's
prefer.
not where, that's not your,
I like to work well in a team.
Yep. So let's talk about how sixes are in relationships and marriage.
Oh, we're not easy to be with.
I did want to say it out loud.
Yeah, go ahead. Like it's about being real and raw, particularly at the beginning of a relationship, because we don't trust people. We will create scenarios. I'll speak for me. I will create scenarios, and I did before I guess we were like really seriously dating, just to see how far I could push you.
Yeah.
To see at what level would it take for you to get mad?
And how much did it take for me to get mad?
A lot. Like a lot. And
it used to make you mad because I wouldn't get angry.
And the things that I would do would be so petty and juvenile. But for example, like I remember driving down the highway and your car,
my 1981 Toyota Cressida,
just died on the highway,
because the plug for the oil pan leaked and my engine seized. It was bad. It was
really, really bad. And so we were on the side of the highway, in like a really nice neighborhood, but we won't talk about all the people that didn't let us use their phone.
Well, before there were cell phones, I was like,
no cell phones then.
Something's wrong with my car.
Right. Clearly, we were out to murder all of these people in their houses. Is what this.
We knocked on 9 doors
community.
And talked to 9 people before one person let us use their phone.
Right.
But I was happy just to knock on doors and like, well, guess we got to talk to people.
So his car died, and I was expecting a humongous freak out.
Yeah.
Because, gosh, that's what I would have done. So I would have lost my mind had that happened on the side of the highway. You were so cool as a cucumber. And so it's not like I created that scenario.
But I had to impress the lady.
But it's just things like that. And I would say things, and sometimes I would start arguments just to see
what would happen. And I'd be like, what is going on?
It's so stupid, honestly. But there was a purpose. Yeah. Right? Can I trust this person?
Which is super funny, because when you do that now, I'm like, all right, let's roll. I'm ready to fight.
Yeah, we're always watching at that stage. And maybe this is the stage you're at, but you've been together for a long time.
Right.
Where you're always watching for hints of abandonment. You're always watching for hints of betrayal. Right. That can be so exhausting if you're looking for it under every rock, so to speak.
That's true, yeah.
Right? And I did for a long time. And that it's like one moment I'm pushing you away. The next I'm clinging. And then I'm pushing. And then I'm clinging. And we alternate between those two places in an unhealthy place.
Yep.
Now, when I was pregnant with our oldest, all of a sudden this fear of abandonment just descended like a cloud over my mind. And I remember so panicked that you would just up and walk out and leave me and abandon me pregnant with your child, because I was like, what if I said I was ready to have kids, but he just lied about it and he wasn't ready. And now he's just going to up and leave. I have no job. I have no money. I'm stuck here with his baby. And so I would wake up out of a dead sleep. He's laughing. It's the truth.
The mind of a 6. And I'm like, if I was going to leave, it would have been a long time ago, because you're crazy.
Right? But I'd wake up out of a dead sleep.
I wouldn't say that. I would, like in jest.
In the moment. Don't say that in the moment.
No, I wouldn't say that in the moment. But now I'm like, what? I'd wake up in the morning and like, love, I'm right here. I don't know where you thought I was going, but I'm right here.
But I wake up out of a dead sleep screaming like, Brian, are you still here? And he's
then
like,
making
I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Right? Second baby, I was like, okay, well, here's what's going to happen. So this is like progression of health for me as a 6.
Yeah.
So baby number 1, I'm freaking out. He's going to leave. I'm going to be alone. Remember several podcasts ago where I was the one that phoned the police when he didn't show up?
For 45 minutes.
Okay, so this is out of that mindset. Baby number 2, I'm like, oh, you can choose to leave. You could totally abandon me and I will take you for everything you're worth. That was the mindset with baby number 2. Baby number 3, I'm like, oh, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, so but I don't know how it took so long. It took 3 children to realize, hey,
health progression in a nutshell.
Right? You just like even this, you decide things and then second guess.
Yep.
Is that
and
true?
Then repeat.
So how many times have there's a reason I didn't include you in the decision of the tires?
Probably because I would have second guessed and we probably would have spent more money.
Well,
and honestly, like, I don't know why I am so not obsessed with my opinion, but think that I have some great epiphany. Like, you worked with tires. Like, I don't. Right?
And you were arguing
but
me.
But Google knows.
Yeah. Yeah, but I didn't use Google. I used a professional tire man to tell me what I had to do.
But yes, we decide and then second guess. So I will go into a store and I'll be like, I'm going to purchase this. And then immediately feel guilty about wanting to purchase it. Then I'll second guess and I'll talk myself out of it and I'll put the thing back.
I don't know how many times I've picked up a chocolate bar and had to put it down and then pick up a different one, then another one and another one.
Oh, but clothes, shoes, it doesn't matter what it is.
You buying clothes for yourself is a nightmare.
Right? I'm a great shopper for everyone else and I am totally this decide.
Should we tell everyone what happens when you don't buy clothes? What you say?
What do I say?
You're like, you wouldn't let me buy clothes. I'm like, mm-hmm. You know what really happened?
That's just in jest.
Yeah, I'm like, you didn't let me buy clothes. I'm like, you mean the one that sent you and said, please buy some stuff because you never do it? Because you can't decide. You can't decide on the clothes you want.
And then we project our issues.
Yeah,
remember.
on me. I'm the one that's all of a sudden,
we're just bringing it full circle for
I'm the guy
viewers.
that is like, not like, he won't let me spend money. See,
that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah. Except for that one time.
You are very, very generous, except that one time.
Yeah, exactly, right? Oh, man.
We are troopers. When we are healthy, we are some of the most fun, steady, and undemanding companions.
And as you can tell, she's pretty healthy now.
I'm very healthy now.
We can have some fun.
But that doesn't mean that the old patterns of how I've done things in the past don't try to creep.
Oh no, absolutely not.
In and
because it's one of those things that you even what we said at the beginning, you become aware and emotionally aware of things, and so when you know they're happening, you can deal with it. You don't know what you don't know. So we've learned so many different things and so many different ways over these years to take care of those. Yeah. And to deal with the issues as they come up, to deal with the mindset, to deal with the things that happen in your head, that you actually are like, no, I'm not going to let this win.
Yep. See, this is the beautiful thing about some of these other numbers that we're going to go into is, like your sister, for example, is a 7.
We should have her.
Yeah, we should. But she is super fun and super, like, she draws the spontaneity out of me because I'm not a risk.
Sure does,
I'm not a risk taker, but she draws that fun side out, and I really appreciate that.
She's a 7, which is an enthusiast.
Yeah,
which is just like, woohoo! We're gonna do the next greatest thing.
That's right.
Me and her have a lot of fun.
I have, it's a mindset. I can choose to miss out on fun experiences. Now, I am not going to be going skydiving. That's just not a thing that's happening. But I'm saying going on a roller coaster or things like that. Because trust me, I've done all the research about any ride that we could possibly go on.
And might die on.
Right. And might die on, and who's died on it, how long ago, right? This is just how my mind functions.
Right.
But my kids, even when we took them to Silverwood one year, and my son was like, Mom, you got to come on the one wooden roller coaster. That was the scariest one.
It was the funnest.
It was like, I don't know, 100 feet up in the air. And so he's like, you're going to regret it if you don't come. And I was like, oh, I hate that. That's true, because I don't want to miss out.
Right.
But sometimes fear of dying on a roller coaster far outweighs my ability to have fun. I did go on that roller coaster. Yeah. I did yell that I was going to die the whole way around, and I didn't die.
Because you're still here, and now you're doing the podcast.
Right. And I had fun. Will I do that one again? No.
Oh, come on.
Like, not a chance. But I'm glad that I did, right? So I faced, we have the ability to face our fears.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you could get one final bit of, a communication advice to everyone who is married to a 6, is friends with a 6, has a 6 child, what's the best way to communicate with a 6?
When we're in that state of mind where it's almost irrational how ridiculous our scenarios are, do not point that out of like you're being like over the top, or you're being this, or you're being that. Acknowledge. And
you're right, this could
honestly,
happen.
You're right, this could happen. But
what's the likelihood?
Right? But this also might not happen.
Yeah.
Right? And what is the worst? And like helping to talk, you sort of like help us to talk ourselves off the ledge. And oftentimes, if it's articulated in a way that is non-condescending or dismissive, we're smart. We will be able to see how kind of humorous and over the top our initial fear was.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so acknowledge, you're right. That is scary. What could possibly happen? And as we lay out our worst case scenarios, because God knows we already know what they are.
Yeah.
We can spell them out for you. As we communicate that without rolling your eyes or without being like, see how ridiculous you are, we'll get there on our own.
Yep.
Of like, it could happen, but it might not.
Right.
Right. And so I think just hearing your spouse or partner out.
And I would say, just from like a challenger's point of view, but anyone that deals with a 6, as exactly what you said.
Don't tell a 6 to chill out.
Which is oftentimes my default. I'm like, whoa, just relax. And she's like, excuse me. She's going to knock me out.
You're right. That does sound scary.
Yeah. Just acknowledge the fear, and then, but don't raise it to the next level.
That's right.
Like, don't raise your tone. Don't raise the voice. Like, because it really just, you turtle.
And don't belittle.
Right?
Right.
And so it's just
like,
one of those.
Validate the person. Validate your spouse, your partner.
And treat them like kindly. And don't just batter them when things don't go your way,
exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Well, we really enjoyed talking about this. And so if you have been enjoying the Amplified Marriage podcast, it really means a lot to us when, one, you email us and you let us know if you have any topics or anything that you want to talk about. But it means a lot when you share it. And you let people know about us. You follow us on the Facebook, or I said the Facebook like an old man would.
Instagram.
You can follow us on the Instagram or the Facebook. If there's any topics, any questions, or anything you would like us to discuss, just email us at amplifiedmarriage@gmail.com, or you can connect with us on Instagram and or Facebook, Facebook. And we would love the opportunity to get to know you and chat with you. And as you hear us say at the end of every one of these episodes, and we believe it with our whole heart, we believe that your marriage can be reset,
refreshed,
recharged,
and restored.
Thanks so much for listening.
Talk to you soon.